What up, guys? This is gonna be kind of fun. Welcome back to the Hype Mind. I'm your host. I'm Bear. You might already know that, but let me share my screen here, and we'll get into something kind of exciting. Check out this video. You might have already seen this before, and if you have, cool. You know, you know what's coming. If you haven't, well, hang in there.
This is a test of selective attention. Count how many times the players wearing white pass the basketball. How many passes did you count? The correct answer is 15 passes. But did you see the gorilla?
So there
This
you go.
video is from research by Daniel Simons and Christopher Chabris and is copyrighted. It is available for use in talks, training, and teaching
Pause this.
on DVDs from VizCog Productions.
That. So yeah, it's kind of funny. You might be familiar with that. You might have seen it before. You might have watched it and realized that you didn't see the gorilla the first time. Um, this is interesting because I want to talk about selective attention and I want to talk about the gorilla in your life because I think that's the reality for most of us. We focus on something, we choose what we're focusing on, and then we naturally stop noticing everything else that's irrelevant, that's not dangerous, that's not posing a threat to us, in our process of focusing on something else. And so the question I want to ask you is, what's the gorilla in your life? What are you focusing on that's taking away from your observation of other things? And our brains are great in the sense that if the gorilla came in the room and started beating people up, we would probably notice. Probably. We would probably notice. But it makes me think that a lot of times we're operating subconsciously and we don't realize there's things going on in the background that are actually hurting us, that are actually not serving us. And so while we're focusing on something in our life, maybe work, maybe reading, maybe our relationship, um, there's all these other things on autopilot that are happening in our lives that we're allowing, right? That are these gorillas in our lives. And sometimes, unlike that video, they are actually being destructive and hurtful. And because our focus is elsewhere, because we're allowing ourselves to focus elsewhere, we're not paying attention to everything in the frame. We're not paying attention to the whole picture of our life and what's going on. And I understand that you can't always do that. You can't always know everything that's happening in your life. But it is important to stop and pause, in some frequency and say, I need to look at my whole life, right? I need to stop focusing on only work. I need to stop focusing on only my relationship. I need to put a pause on what I am focusing on and just take a look at my whole life and say, are there any gorillas? Um, you know, even if they aren't running through the basketball game and beating up the basketball players, are there any gorillas that are going unnoticed that you know could cause a problem, right? What's a gorilla like? Even if obviously that was a man in a costume, but a gorilla is a big, aggressive, strong animal that is potentially dangerous. And so just because the gorilla isn't causing a problem at the moment and hasn't captured your focus doesn't mean he might not. And that's kind of a lot of our habits in our own life. We're like, oh, our drinking isn't causing a problem right now. But then there's that one night where your friend is like, I really need a ride home, and you decide to drive them home drunk and you end up coming home with a DUI or something. Like, the gorilla that you might not have noticed in your life, in my example being alcohol, might not be causing problems at the moment, but it's still a, 100 pound, 200 pound, 300 pound gorilla in your life that could cause a problem, and is more than likely to, like, ignoring the potential it comes with a risk. And so I'm calling attention to the fact that there are gorillas in our lives, and sometimes we need to pause and put a hold on what we're focusing on, just to take our whole lives into a picture and kind of reflect on ourselves. I think that's really what examination of conscience in the Christian sense is. It's a reflection on your day to say, what did I do today? What did I do that was good, and what did I do that I could have done better? Where did I hit the mark, and where did I miss the mark today? And so that's kind of what I'm calling you to do, is to say, all right, I'm going to pause. I'm going to look at my life. I've been focusing on work. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing. But where are there places I've missed the mark today that I could improve or might need to improve, or maybe wasn't even a missing the mark, but could be a problem, like, oh, there's nothing inherently wrong with drinking, but could drinking be a problem for me in the future? Do I know my strengths and weaknesses? Um, you know, am I such a giving friend that I will drive someone home drunk, at my own expense? Um, and so ask yourself those questions, put a pause on what you're focusing on, and look for the gorillas, especially the gorillas that are actually already acting out and beating up the basketball players that maybe you've been deliberately ignoring, right? Maybe typically you would notice that, but you've actually been ignoring, those gorillas. So yeah, where are the gorillas in your life? And are you choosing to deliberately ignore them? And if not, where are the gorillas that haven't yet caused a problem, but if they did, it'd be a big problem, you know? Um, yeah, I, I hope you got a chuckle out of this, because that video is always kind of funny. It is, it's just funny to, be brought into a reality of your own human, um, just your own humanity, just who you are as a human. And we're so arrogant and ignorant as to say, oh, I would notice a gorilla, and yet we don't. So, have a little humility and notice that, and then challenge yourself to look at your own life and spot those gorillas. As always, please subscribe. I can't express the gratitude I have to the people who have and do take the time to do that. Drop a comment. I'd love to know your questions. I'd love to know your thoughts on the video. And as always, peace.